Hey, inflation is moving faster than anything else. Get your pride out of the way and consider doing whatever you can for you and your family. If you need to co-live or get an extra job, do that. This shit is getting uglier by the day. Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth podcast. The topic of today's show is inflation and your family. This is episode number 365 of a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. For those of you who are new to the show or are catching up, I've changed the show format a little bit. Now, beginning last week, we began discussing topics in 7 different areas of our life: financial, physical, personal development. Now we're into family. And later on this week, we'll get into spiritual, social, and career. And like I said, the objective of this show is to provide insight and tools to build the life and homestead of our dreams. And if a homestead is part of your dreams, you gotta have your life in order. Life first, homestead second. So how do you get your life in order? How do you find your purpose in your life, your calling? Now, in order to find your purpose or your calling, and in order for your purpose or your calling to be fulfilled, right, you've got to set goals in multiple areas of your life. And success is never just about reaching career or financial goals. We've got to set goals in multiple areas of our life to find success in each of those areas outlined above. Now, last week we hit on financial, physical, and personal development. Today we're going to dive into family. And what I read to you to open today's episode was a tweet from Marty Bird Composure from Saturday, June 4th at 4:40 p.m. And I've linked to that in the show notes so you can read it for yourself. And the reason why I began the show with that is because I decided to type family into Twitter to see what the top tweets were and if there was anything trending. And I would just generate a topic from there. So I read that tweet and, it really got my gears grinding. So before I continue, let me read that with you one more time. Hey, inflation is moving faster than anything else. Get your pride out of the way and consider doing whatever you can for you and your family. If you need to co-live or get an extra job, do that. This shit is getting uglier by the day. Now, I'm going to talk about inflation and your family, but maybe not in the way that most people do. And I'm sure that if you're still listening at this point, you can already see the direction that we're going to go with how we handle inflation, or at least how I think it's appropriate to handle inflation with regard to my family. Now, today's episode may be a bit brief. The days have been long lately, and while I'm self-employed and working part-time, I can assure you that I'm busier than ever, but learning how to balance all of it better each and every day. But more on that later. So for now, let's take a look at inflation. We'll get into internet search number 2 using pre-search to bring up a number of topics and articles on what is inflation. I decided to go with Investopedia to give me a simple term and a simple reading on what inflation is. Inflation is a decrease in the purchasing power of money, reflected in a general increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy. Okay, very good. We could go on and on about inflation and discuss the ins and outs and the whys of all of that, but look, not today. All right. A lot of people might want this to turn into a discussion about, oh, well, the price of a gallon of gas is $5 now. It's even more than that. And highest it was under Trump was $3.50. Well, this is what you're getting, Biden's America. Sorry, guys. I hate to disappoint, but that's not how I think about inflation. This has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about, but the way that I think about inflation is I like to look at Snickers bars. That's right, candy bars. Specifically a Snickers. Because it's not my favorite candy bar. And also I don't eat candy bars quite like I used to. So it's good for me to look at them through this lens. But, you know, not only do we experience, we do experience the decrease in the purchasing power of money, but not simply reflected by a general increase in the price of goods in an economy, but the goods have changed. The size of a Snickers bar isn't what it was 2 decades ago. The ingredients in the Snickers bar are likely of a lesser quality as well. All right. So what do candy bars have to do with inflation? What do I even know about inflation? Well, little to nothing. So what's discussion beyond that? What's discussion beyond candy bars? Like, in discussion about inflation beyond candy bars specifically, what's that going to do for you and your family? Yeah, little to nothing. So what can you do? Well, I don't know. It really all depends on the context of your life and your family. Now, I can tell you what I'm doing with my family. And in large part, I do that throughout the podcast. And in it, I'll try to nutshell what we're doing. We're trying to build and develop the life and homestead of our dreams so that it remains a central part of our family for generations to come. We wish to turn this land, which was in part old cropland, into a regenerative landscape that will provide abundantly for future generations. Lofty goals. So we need to drill down on how we get there, okay? And where I'm at now and what I'm doing now with my life is the execution of a plan many years in the making. And quite frankly, it wasn't until recently that I actually got that much more deliberate with my goals by writing them out and following a process. I had done a number of things goal-related over the years, none of which really took in the way that recent actions took by specifically writing them out and taking specific action with regard to the specific goals that I set. And in doing so, that changed the course of the trajectory that I had been on at that time, subsequently altering the course of my life. It's possible for you to do the same. And the way that I did that, again, I said recently, was with this 2022 goal setting workbook. It sounds like I'm shilling this thing all the time. All right, like, it's a free download. Is it an affiliate link? Yeah. Do I get like paid through it? No. It's just some like click acknowledgement within the 48 days community. And I hope to, as time goes on, become an affiliate for some of these other products. But you'll notice that I don't push the saleable products all that frequently, because honestly, I'm not in this to shill stuff and to like promote products like that. I mean, I do wish to monetize the podcast, and I've gotten some great feedback from the community on how to do that with Fountain and Lightning and Bitcoin, and I'm working on setting all of that up. But really my priority is just getting the damn website up and operational. But I'm juggling a million balls, and I'm not a very good juggler, so I had to set some of them down. I can manage 3, maybe, I can do 2 in one hand. I need some work on my left, so maybe I could do 4. But yeah, I had to set some of those balls down. So those things had to just get set aside for a while. But, anyways, that's not to say that they won't be picked up, because they will. But for now, I have to get a little bit of focus, and this 2022 goal setting workbook has really helped me get that focus that I needed in order to provide further clarity to the goals that I've had over the past few years. All right, so like in a nutshell, the goals that I had were to come together with my family, build up a little homestead and generate some income from that. And that's what we're doing. We're hoping to build upon the enterprises that we've got going so that we can do more. If you don't have a homestead, that's okay. What kind of side hustles do you have? Do you have a little garden? If not, that's cool too. Get your side hustles going. Get involved in a CSA. There's a cool site called Local Line out there, which is a hub for lots of producers. It's a great way to find product that's delivered. Let me tell you a little bit about Local Line too, because this isn't part of what we're doing as a family. Maybe it might generate some ideas for you on what you can do with your family to deal with inflation. So here, let's riff on this for a sec. Here's a kind of an unexpected solutions-oriented story. Last week was the first week that I went full-time with Dad making sauerkraut, okay? Here on York Meadow Farm. And he's been doing it for a few years on a small scale, selling at farmers markets, while Mom makes bath and body products, soaps, hand creams, liquid and bar soaps, bath bombs, things like that. And I've made a batch of soap with her. I'm learning that as well, but I'm really the sales are higher with Dad. There's more demand for his product, so I'm working with him right now. And last year, the year prior, I don't remember when, some friends of ours from Yellow House Cheese started selling product online through a website called Local Line. And they started asking other market vendors in the area if they would like to contribute. And the way that this works is the farm store is open Tuesday through Thursday. You do your shopping, you look at what's available. The farmers collectively assemble their orders, deliver it to the farm where you're placing your order, they assemble the orders from all of the farmers that are participating in it. And then more often than not, there are multiple drop points or delivery points where you can pick up your bagged groceries. Right? It's as easy as that. It's like Instacart, except you just have to go somewhere to get it. And better than Instacart, you can get pastured meats, dairy products, cheeses, mushrooms, seasonal produce, anything you want, man, anything. So we got involved with them, and it's helped boost our sales, and it's something that you can do too. Don't think you can do fermenting, don't think you can do this. You can do cottage goods, all right? Breads, cookies, whatever. You can do it. People will buy it. You just need to think outside of the box. And it's possible. The key thing here, the key takeaway, all right, like that's my like, as to kind of conclude things a little bit. You got my perspective on inflation. It's really, all I have to say about it is candy bars. Like, we all know how it's impacting our families, not in a good way. We all suspect that it's going to get worse, and I'm not going to tell you how it's, all right, yeah, I will tell you how it's going to get worse. All right, this is how it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because historically, that's how it works. All right? And anybody who knows anything about history knows that it's cyclical. And for God's sake, let's pay attention to what's going on in the world. And no, I'm not talking about the tragic events that are happening in the news, or Johnny Depp, or whatever. I'm talking about the midterms that are coming up. I'm talking about other activities that are taking place within other facets of the government. But, but I'm also not talking about that because no one's listening, because everybody else is talking about gas is $5 a gallon and Amber Heard shit in Johnny Depp's bed. That's why I do a podcast. How can you have conversations with anyways? So, enough about inflation. And let's just imagine that it's going to get worse, okay? And if it doesn't get worse, the solutions that I'm going to propose in the case that it does get worse are ultimately going to improve the quality of your life, right? So like, listen up. It's very simple. Excuse me. I just mentioned the local line. All right, I also mentioned CSAs. Now, CSAs are a big commitment. You sign up for it, you give your local farmer $500, $550, whatever the case may be, and every week you go to their place and they give you this giant crate of shit. And half the time you don't know what to do with it. And if your farmers are cool, they're going to give you recipes or links to their website that has recipes. And if you are a superhuman, you're going to find the time to do this and make the homesteady crafty shit that you read about on Instagram. But then reality sets in and kids have games and summer hits when it's prime produce season, and all you end up with is a fridge full of rotting shit. Okay? That's how CSAs work most of the time. I'm sorry, to, you know, just say that's how it is, but a lot of times that's how it is. So the beauty with something like Local Line and working with farmers who deal with Local Line is that, like I said, it's got that Instacart functionality where boom, boop, beep, boop. I want one of these, two of these, none of all that. Oh, ground beef is on sale? Yeah, I'll take 4 of those. And 4 pounds, that is. And because it's not like you're ordering a half a cow or something. You're ordering the same cuts of meat that you would order at the grocery store. Oh, you like mango habanero brats or sausages or something? Okay, yeah, you can probably find those. The bottom line is, why do you do this? Is it to eat good food? Sure. Yeah, that's certainly a benefit. Is it an extra step to like pick up groceries in this manner? Yeah, but not near as much of a hassle and an ass ache as it is dealing with a CSA. All right. But more importantly, what this does is it connects you with local farmers. Because like I said, maybe you don't have the ability to have a big garden or plant all the trees or have all the livestock or, you know, do all the permaculture. Like, maybe your reality is sitting behind a desk in front of a screen, getting on some conference calls, traveling a little bit, you know, managing projects. I get it, because for a long time that was my life. And like I said, and I was talking about with Dad earlier, which kind of provided some of the context for today's show, that where we're at today in this commercial kitchen that's built right next door to my office from where I'm recording right now is a culmination of a plan that was put in place 10 years ago. And that plan from 2012 evolved from a plan that began in 2008, 2007, 8, late 2007, early 2008, when my parents closed on this property. I actually moved back here from North Carolina at the time. Had lofty dreams at that time, but then the housing crisis hit and everything got put on hold with plans to build. And that's when I began my career in forestry, utility forestry, that led to a career in the corporate world. All right, and all of that went on hold for about 4 years while I went gonzo chasing dreams and climbing the proverbial corporate ladder before getting grounded in reality while living out in Southern California, of all places. And it was there, specifically during the holidays, where I was at home with family, talking about dreams and talking about the future. And it was at that point where I began to make my exit strategy to get out of California, to get back to Ohio and start building a future, because things like inflation were going to happen. It was going to impact me. It was going to impact my family. And it was going to get worse. And you know what? Compared to 10 years ago, I think things have gotten worse in a lot of ways. And I don't want to be a pessimist, but I think over the next 10 years, things are going to get worse as well in a lot of ways. And so what I think we can all do to deal with it is do what I just said. Connect with your community. Connect with people who can do things that you can't do, who have skills that you don't have. And simply be of service to your community. Get involved. Get outside your comfort zone. If not really into church, try it. Go for the community aspect of things. There's social hours afterwards. There's contemporary services for those of you who don't like the conventional things. Get involved in your community. Church is a great way to meet people. Meetup.com, if it's still functional, it was as a few years ago, is a great way to get out and meet people of like mind. This community, this show is a great way to meet people of like mind. We're growing slowly, we're growing organically, but we're growing. And it's a great way to connect with those of like mind. So anyways, guys, that's about it for today's episode. Like I said, what do we do to deal with inflation and all of this stuff? We focus on ourselves, our lives, financial, physical, personal development, family, spiritual, social, and career. Since we're talking about inflation in the family, we focus on those other 6 elements. We try to live a better life, a balanced life, so that we can better support our families. Because indeed, things are getting uglier by the day. So think about your exit strategy. Think about your plan. And if you're not really sure on what you can do to deal with it, and you're not sure where to begin with simplicity and a proven plan that works. 2022 goal setting workbook will be linked to in the show notes, and follow the steps in order, beginning with the financial one. I promise you, freedom from debt will help you find the clarity that you need to build and create the life of your dreams, which may or may not include a homestead, right? And that increased clarity will help you better understand what it is that you need to do for you and your family. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the state of affairs in the world right now, and it's easy to feel alone. But you're not. And if you don't want to feel alone and you want to connect with those of like mind, then check us out on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth. You can also connect with the show on social media, on MeWe, Twitter, Float, and Facebook. But admittedly, guys, since resigning from my job a few weeks ago and changing my routine dramatically, including but not limited to recording in the evenings this week instead of in the mornings like I've always done, and the inclusion of the 48 Days book and the actual application guide, going through it, 48 days. I'm on day 8 right now. More on that later. Stay tuned. That's caused me not to be as active on MeWe, on Float, on Twitter as well, and even less so on Telegram. I get out and I post show updates, let people know I'm alive, but I'm really not engaging that much, and I do apologize. But there, guys, in the show notes, there's also links to all episodes. There's links to how to leave a rating and review in the Apple Podcast app, and discussion links on the original tweet and the inflation definition. But like I said, guys, you're not alone. Join us, t.me/allaroundgrowth, and definitely look forward to seeing you there. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the next episode. Well, we'll see you later. And you know what? As I shut this down and go to put out the outro music, the Oddfellows song, I realized that that I played that in the beginning. So there was some extra music in the background, and that may have been a little weird. So for that, I apologize. And for those of you who muscled through it and decided to listen to the whole episode, thank you very much. I'm grateful for that, and I appreciate you. Anyways, guys, until tomorrow, this is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.